Peace and love to the family. I want to begin this discussion, and you see the title tonight. Baba, Amin, and I are going to be talking about or unpacking the question, right? Are Black people
Yeah.
cultural creations of white people? So that is the topic
Mm,
tonight, family. But before I get started, I had to show some love to my brothers behind the G wall. I was just talking to you, Baba, about how a lot of
yeah.
these brothers really support me. I'm telling you, I have some
That's
letters,
powerful.
Bob. I get letters. I'm telling you from
The
brothers.
platform is growing
Ashe, Ashe,
organically. You
Ashe.
putting in that work, Doc.
Thank you so much, Baba Ashe. And I just appreciate, the people who support me, the people who support this platform. Again, the brothers behind the G Wall have been showing me so much love. They send me letters. They also inbox me on IG. They inbox me on Facebook. And so I want to start off tonight by playing this song called Do You Want to Ride by Jay-Z and John Legend. And so Baba in the song, he's talking about how like he doesn't write letters, but he said, I'm gonna send you this letter through the airwave. And
Yeah.
so
I
right
say.
now, right now, I'm thinking about you, Mojo Nation, thinking about you, brother. I'm thinking about Ross Ben Sekou, thinking about you, brother. And so I'm not a pinner, I don't pin a lot. I mean, I may type some things, I don't pin, but I want to send these brothers some love through the airwaves. Ashe. Had to do it, Baba. Had to do it, Baba, for my incarcerated brother. Sending love
Hey, stand
to
strong and stay
Dr. Mahat.
strong. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I say.
Sending love to my incarcerated brother. They showed me so much love, Baba.
Right.
I always tell my family, my favorite principle of my art is reciprocity. You got to
I
give it
say.
back. When someone show you love, you got to give it back.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean? Got
That's
to give
right.
it back. Got to give it back.
Absolutely. Well, powerful song with a powerful message. You know what I'm saying? And something that so many of us deal with. Having someone we love, someone we connected to behind the wall, and a lot of us connected to poverty. You know what I'm saying? That's why when we say free our political prisoners, it's a whole lot of Black folks locked up, and it's political. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? The whole
Facts.
penal system is
It's
political. You know
political.
what I'm saying?
Ashe.
So yeah. Wow, wow, powerful, powerful.
Ashe, and a peace to everyone in the building. I see Yepate Imports may have butchered your name. You said no, not all Black. So he's answering the question for tonight. Are Black people, and I say Black people, cultural
Right.
creations of white people? So, Yepate Imports, you said not all Blacks, but Negroes are. In fact, they are GMO. I see New Black
Mm,
World Orders in the building. He said, family, share the show, subscribe, hit the like button, and enjoy. Peace to Maine Armstead. He said, peace to Dr. Maat and Baba Amin, the dynamic
peace.
duo. Ashe. Peace to Alan
Black at it
Boy.
again.
Yes. Peace to Alan Boy. Ashe, Mama, Hotep. Hotep to you, family. Uh-oh, I think this is the twins. These are my twins, the BP Fahodie, or BP Fahodie, to my twins. I always butcher it. I know the first is E5, but if I start saying the whole name, Baba, I'm going to jack it up.
Uh-oh. I'm
I'm
gonna
going to
go
jack it up.
for
Go ahead, Baba.
it. I ifag I ifag bamila. Oje ke inde or you say.
Tell us if we got it. Tell us if Baba got it. Tell us if Baba got it. Tell us if he got it. All
Hey.
right. Main Armstead said good choice as for song, as good choice for far as the song. Thank you so much. Iyapo said blessings, peace, love to you, BG Riggs. Peace to you, family. I see
I say.
Daniel McCrary is in the building. RBG, a beautiful mind. Peace to you. Peace to a
Mm.
beautiful mind. Who is this right here? Baba?
What this uh-oh. This is a good one right here. Cap who golly. I
You
don't
see,
know. That
Baba? You
yeah,
see,
yeah,
Baba?
that's like a creation right there.
Baba, you see?
Capusno.
Kahushno.
Capusno.
No,
Capusno.
Baba, that's why I left it alone. That's why I left it alone. It says, I find a way where it seemed there was none today. Today began a long time ago. All right. I
All
see
right.
KC. KC say hello, fam. All right. So a lot of people was vibing with us. Scott is in
Oh,
the building. Peace to you, Scott. What's this? This says Megan Collard Greens. Oh, Mean Jean. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Mean Jean Collard Green.
Mean Gene Collard Green. What
Mean Jean
up?
Collard Green. Uh-oh, my powerful brother Ituneta is in the building.
Peace,
That,
peace.
that brother is powerful, man. He drops so many jewels
I
on
say,
Facebook, always posting, always spreading the knowledge. So peace to you, Netta. Peace to you. Uh-oh, he said, great job. He said, you did a great job, Baba.
yeah.
He said, but the last name is Oluseyi.
Okay. Oluseyi. All
Oh,
right.
yeah, Oluseyi.
Oluseyi. Cool, cool,
He said,
cool.
but you did a good job. Carter G.
Appreciate
Goodson. Carter G. Goodson is in the building.
it. These names is
I know, right? Right,
we
Baba?
so creative, man. We know we ain't got that from white people.
No, we didn't get that from white folks.
That
We didn't get that
creativity
from
there.
white folks.
Come on, man.
So
Yeah.
peace. He says, peace,
Carter G.
peace, and
Goodson.
God bless good people. And
Yes.
then he said, OJK
Hinde.
Hinde.
I think I nailed
I
that
think you
one.
did say, yeah, I think
Yeah,
you
yeah.
nailed that one. I think you nailed
OJK
that one.
Hinde. Yes.
Yeah, I think you killed that one,
Yeah,
Baba.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Let's Get Free says peace. Peace to you. Let's get free.
Ain't nothing like somebody whose name is a whole message. You know what I'm saying?
Baba. Baba. All right, so
Yeah.
family, you heard the question tonight. Are Black people cultural creations? And when I say Black, I'm going
Mm.
like this: are Black people, right, cultural creations of white people? And so, Baba, what inspired me, or what would motivate or inspire this question, and I reached out to you. Remember, I'm going off on the telephone. And family, let me be honest. Let me just transparent moment. So Baba will tell you, I may call him about something, or he may call me about something, and then he and I start building on it, right? We just start
Right.
building, and then we'll say, Baba, come on, let's go live to talk about this. Let's bring this build, to the people. And so anyway, I literally called him. I was some black person, or probably Negro. Somebody said Negro in the chat, really upset me. And I said, golly, not even just in real life. When I say in real life, Bob, I'm saying offline, right? Not just
Right.
offline, but I
Right.
come across Negroes offline, online. And I'm like, dang, Baba, like, how did we get here? But we got here, family, because of the Ma'afa. And I think, Baba, a lot of us do
Real
not
talk. Real
understand
talk.
how bad
Yes.
the Ma'afa impacted us. So we think like, oh, we were
Right.
enslaved, we were emancipated, we were free. But
Right.
a lot of us don't understand, the magnitude of what
Right.
happened to us,
Right.
and so we were literally stripped of everything, Baba.
Right. Right.
Our name, our
Mm-hmm.
spirituality, our land, our
Mm-hmm.
family, our
Mm-hmm.
culture. And so
Mm-hmm.
people don't understand. As a matter of fact, you know what, Baba?
And
Right
like
now,
and don't
hold on,
and
Baba. Let me
some of us. Oh, go
hold on,
ahead.
Baba. Let me finish my thought. So it was a book that Jalen is reading. I have him reading Barracoon by
Mm-hmm.
Zora Neale Hurston.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about they called him Cudjoe Lewis. It was about his story, Baba. And in the story, he was talking about how he was 19 when he was taken, from his people. He was 19. They marched him down to a holding area, which he called Barracoon, but we know that's a Spanish word for barracks, right? Or fort. And so he was stayed there for like 3 to 6 months, waiting for a ship to come. He talked about how it was on the ship. He talked about how when they first took him to, I think it was Mississippi, and then whoever didn't get off in Mississippi got off in Alabama. But he talked about everything that he lost: his family, his culture, his name. He was called a savage. And Baba, nowadays, science even confirms this. We already knew it, but they talked epigenetics, which is a branch of science that talks about how trauma is passed down through DNA. So I don't think our people realize, Baba, how much we lost, and how literally when you strip a human being of all of that stuff, then you build that human being to be what you want them to be.
Absolutely.
But go ahead, Baba. Go ahead, build. I just wanted to
Yeah,
get that out.
no,
Baba.
no. I'm feeling that, and it goes exactly. My thought is exactly, building on what you just said. Because not only do we not understand what we lost, many of us don't understand that we lost anything.
Come on,
Right?
Baba.
Like we don't understand that there was a reason why African culture, spiritual systems, and languages were outlawed and banned. That our people went through a period in the Ma'afa where we were punished for practicing our languages, punished for practicing our spiritual systems, because we use culture to fight our wars. right? We use spiritual systems to fight our wars. People say we didn't have a chance. They had guns, they had cannons. Man, they took a lot. Europeans took a lot of L's
Come
coming
on.
up against Africans, especially Africans who were culturally strong and spiritually strong. That's why they call it black magic. That's why they're so afraid of voodoo and things like that, because African people weaponize nature, weaponize culture, weaponize spirituality as a defense against invasion. So they had to stamp it out. So now, fast forward to today, we begin our history in slavery, and it's almost as if we were nothing prior to that, or savages, or just animal like. You know, I've heard people say, man, slavery was bad, but at least we learned how to read. At least we can learn how to talk. Like, you don't think we knew how to talk before we were on the slave ship? At least we learned English, and look at us now. You know, oh, you wish you was back in Africa back then? Well, yes. But what do you think it was like back then?
Come on,
You know what I'm
Baba.
saying?
Come
Yeah,
on,
and so
Baba.
so that's the issue. So when we say, are we cultural creations of white people, some people may instantly say no, but out of a lack of understanding of how we got here in the first place.
That's true, Baba. And then I just thought about when you said um, that you've heard, black folks say things like, I saw a meme up one time. I think it was a meme or maybe in a video where she was saying, thank God that white people were slaves. It was actually a female. And
Mhm.
she said, thank God for slavery, because had it not been for slavery, we would have been probably worshiping a tree.
Yeah.
Baba,
Yes.
the ignorance, like, so you're saying that our ancestors, you're giving praise for
Mhm.
our captivity, because you're saying that had we had not been captives, right, of
Right.
white
Right.
folks, that
Right.
we would have been worshiping a tree, as if
But
something is wrong. But as if something is wrong with that, there's nothing wrong
right.
with me to
Right.
worshiping nature. There's
You
nothing
know,
wrong with
I
that.
mean, you need that tree.
Come on.
You do know that tree is feeding your spirit for real.
Come
Like
on.
that tree is playing an actual role in your life. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But in the tripped out, there was a lot of our ignorance though is based on European scholarship.
come on.
So a lot of our ignorance of who we are is based on the deliberate lies and scientific racism that exists in Eurocentric and European scholarship. And the beautiful thing about us though is that our culture, African culture, always shines through. But when you
Hmm.
don't know your story, you don't recognize it when you see it. You might mess up and call it ghetto. You might mess up and call it hood. So if I say, hey man, we be out here chilling, you know what I'm talking about? This is what we do. You feel me? Right? See, there you go talking ghetto. There you go talking slang. No, I'm being an African linguistic genius that's making the so-called English language work for me.
Ashe.
You know,
Ashe.
yeah.
And that's what we do. Like you say, we make it work for
We
us.
make it work for us. But what's
Hmm.
that part? But the question is, what is that us? Right? What's that part of us? And how you define that is important. If you define that part of us that makes us different, as savage, as ignorant, as dumb, oh, you just speak bad English, you just ghetto, you just this, well, then that's who you are. How you define yourself, right? That's how you're gonna carry yourself. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
And we get a lot of, and you and I talked about this offline. A lot of our definitions come from them.
that's
And
right.
and and, and I spoke on this maybe a while ago, and peace to brother Rick Road. He said Rod Hayes has talked on this. And we need to continue to have these types of
That's right.
conversations until we no longer become or continue to be, as I would say, continue to be cultural creations of white folks. That's why it's important to Sankofa. And Bobby, you have the hat on right now with the Sankofa bird. We have the Sankofa. We have to go back and fetch
That's right.
our cultural our cultural knowledge, and not only go back and fetch it, right? Go back and fetch it and then apply it to our
Right.
lives. And not only apply it, Baba, but teach it, promote it, and reinforce
That's
our
right.
cultural
That's
traditions.
right.
So, Baba, what was I getting ready to say to you? I feel like I just
That's
lost my
right.
train of thought. What was it, Baba? What did I say?
Look. Well, I just know this: when it comes to recapturing who we are,
There we
right?
go, Baba.
That's a key tool. That's a key tool to freedom. And it's a trip how we're caught in this dual consciousness where we'll say we just want to be free. We want to be free, but then when we say, okay, well, let's recapture who we are. Oh, that's too free. Now you're being too black. You know what I'm saying? But you can't capture freedom if you don't capture your identity. Right?
Facts.
You just can't capture it. You can't cap this compromise that we've made culturally in this country. You know what I'm saying? It's not working. this assimilation approach, it's not working,
Not at
right?
all.
At all, right? And we suffer from it because look at our youth looking for any type of identity to grab onto that'll give them some sense of self, some sense of being a part of something. And when we
Mm-hmm.
don't offer them a people to be a part of, right? Or if we offer a people that says they're the N word, I'm gonna be a real N. I'm a real one. I'm
Or
gonna
I'm
be
a
a
real
bad
B.
B.
Or I'm a
Come
B.
on
Yeah, I'm
now.
a bad B.
Those
Uh-huh.
are cultural creations of Europeans too. So I know a lot of people saying we say cultural creations of white people. You think we just talk about the uppity Negro. No,
No,
no, no, no,
no.
no. The hood attitudes, a lot of hood attitudes are cultural creations of Europeans as well. The
Facts.
classism that's in the hood, you know what I'm saying? The labels. The black woman was called a bee first on the plantation because that's what you call a female animal that's in heat.
That's what they said. That's what they said, Baba.
And your babies was called pups,
Right on
right?
the plantation.
Right. So we're carrying these terms. We were called savages in European science books first before we started putting on t-shirts and making rap songs calling ourselves a
A
savage.
savage.
You was a savage at Oxford first, at Harvard first, because they had to justify why is it okay to enslave these people? Well,
Mm-hmm.
they're not civilized, they're savages.
Mm-hmm. We didn't have a soul. Remember, Baba? We
They
didn't have a
didn't
soul.
even have a soul
Right.
according to those definitions.
Absolutely. And thank you, because you just triggered it. Definitions. That's where I was moving to. That we
Mm-hmm.
get our definitions from them. Even down, Baba, to what's success. What does
Yes.
success look like? You know,
Yes.
that we have adopted their definition of success. We've also, as I stated to you on the telephone, we adopted their definitions of relationships. Okay,
Yes.
male and female roles, right? The whole husband wife dynamic. What should the husband be doing? What should the wife be doing? And so a
Right.
lot of those definitions, even family, we've
Right.
adopted their definitions on what does a healthy family look
Right.
like. And
Right.
so we really, Baba, we have to extricate ourselves from this culture. We had to separate. Not I know people thought Elijah Muhammad was crazy when he kept talking about separation, and Malcolm X
Right.
kept talking about separation. We have to separate from this culture before it devours us and our
That's right.
family and our
That's right.
peoples. Separation, Baba. Time is now. We should have been separated, Baba.
Look.
Integration was one of the worst things that happened to
Mhm.
Black people. But go ahead,
I
Baba.
say no. I'm agreeing with you. You know, we first world people. We original people. We're Earth people. We're Southern cradle people, as Sheikh
Facts.
Anta Diop would say. You know, so success for us historically, and it's still in our DNA. This is why we're dealing with so much conflict today, right? Success for us historically is sharing. It's having a relationship with nature that makes life bountiful for the whole, for everyone. Wealth historically was shared land. Wealth historically was shared assets, large families. Who are you connected to? What resources do you have access to? It wasn't I got mine, you got to get yours. I'm going to get mine, get a big house. That's Northern cradle theory
Come on,
thinking.
come on,
You know,
come
when
on.
you're in Europe and you find a good patch of land, because good patches of land is so rare, you better build a gate around it and don't let anybody else in, because it just ain't enough for everybody. So that develops a different type of attitude, a different type of culture that says, you know what, we got to make it okay for some of us to have a lot and the rest of us to have nothing.
Mm-hmm. Facts, Baba.
And we got to trick those that have nothing into celebrating those of us that have a lot. And they can't blame our greed, our manipulation, or our vanity. We're just telling them that God blessed us and didn't bless you. And if that ain't the attitude we walking around with today, I was on a conversation earlier today with some pastors, and they was talking about how, you know, if God blessed me, people shouldn't get mad, because they was talking about the pastor that got robbed. If a pastor's flashy, people shouldn't get mad that I'm flashy and I got this. God bless me. And my thing was, wait a minute, what if you bought that out of vanity? Is that still God's gift?
Come on, come on,
Right? What, just
come
because it's
on,
expensive, it has to be a blessing?
come on,
These
Baba.
cultural attitudes. So the young people looking at you, we looking at you and saying, oh, okay, so it don't matter how I get it. Let me go get what I can get. It's still a blessing,
Right,
right?
it's a blessing.
It's a
And so
blessing
and
because
so
I
hold up,
got
Baba. And if I don't have it, so if I
right.
can't afford to live, in this particular
So
neighborhood or
I'm not
drive this
blessed.
particular car, yeah, so I'm not blessed. I'm not blessed.
I'm not blessed. I need you to show me where my blessings are outside of that, because I don't live in that lane, right? Right. And and we're not crazy. We see the misery that goes on, you know what I'm
Come
saying,
on.
with the wealthy and the rich. Money don't mean peace, but when you caught up in a capitalistic culture, a capitalistic society, the haves trick the have-nots into believing that there's some entity out there that wants the haves to have everything and want you to have nothing. And you have to be okay with it. Not only are you supposed to be okay with it, you're supposed to celebrate the haves. That's a European cultural creation.
Absolutely. Yep, that had that whole idea of like the haves. And then Tyler Perry had a show called The Have and Have Nots. But that,
Right.
like you said, that is a European creation.
That's a European
The
creation.
have and the have nots. And so we gotta really, Baba, this is going back to, I'm thinking about the Nguzo Saba principle, Kuji Chagalia. That's my favorite principle, by the way. Self-determination.
Ashe.
To define for ourselves. To define for
Ashe.
ourselves. Dr. Amos Wilson often talks about becoming an inner directed people versus an outer directed people. He talks
That's
about
right.
that in Blueprint for Black Power. So we had the Sankofa. We got to get back to self. Someone asked in the chat, Baba, let me go down. They asked, KC says, can Baba discuss the distinction between authentic African American culture and the current
Mm.
ratchet gutter culture?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the aspects of our culture that are self-destructive, right? They're not authentic. The authenticity in our culture, for me, but it comes in how we express ourselves, our like we love to congregate, right? Our sense of extended family is an example of authentic African American culture. You know what I'm saying? Authentic African American culture can definitely be found in our music, though it's not
Mhm.
always found in the message. But there's always people who are carrying on the message of singing about love, singing about freedom, right? Singing and writing about living a better life. You know what I'm saying? Singing and writing about God and spirituality, because that's authentic to us, right? We are authentically a spiritual people, but now we become sort of this hybrid because of the so-called dominant culture,
Come on,
right?
Baba.
But the dominant culture that has invaded the authentic aspect of African American culture, you know what I'm saying? That mixes up the message, right? So when you talk about the ghetto and ratchet, I have to be careful with that. When people say that, because some of the stuff we may call ghetto and ratchet may be distinctly African. It's just been defined as ghetto and ratchet. So
Ratchet.
when you see the sister with the braids and I got all the colors and decorations in it, some people might call that ghetto and ratchet, but that's distinct to African American culture and African culture. We come from a people that's very decorative and colorful, right? We only diss it because white people won't accept it. You say she ain't gonna get
Mm.
no job looking like that. Well, who are you thinking of that's gonna hire her? Be the person to make that decision. You're
Come on.
talking about Europeans. So we define it as ghetto and ratchet rather than African. When we talk about our names, right? We don't give ourselves enough love for the beautiful names we create. This is my baby Rishanae. Ooh, that's a ghetto name. No, that's an authentic African American name. You know what I'm saying? Rishanae. You know what I'm saying? Latisha. You know what I'm saying? These are distinct names. And when you look at a lot of our names, you'll see words like Ashe in them.
Mm.
We have a lot of shades. That goes Shay Shay. Well, where does Shay Shay come from? Ashe.
Mm.
It might be Lushay, Lushaya, Nushay, Nushaya, but what's in there? That Ashe, which means
Mm-hmm.
give it power. But because we haven't, that the definitions have been taken from us and it's been redefined as something ratchet and less than. You know what I'm saying? We may call those things ghetto and ratchet. So when people say make the distinction, right? It's important that we see, well, first of all, what aspect of our culture do you define as ghetto and
Mm.
ratchet? You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of the stuff we call ratchet is actually distinct African American culture.
That's true. And
And it's
Baba,
beautiful.
it's beautiful. And Baba, I'm sitting here thinking of, I remember hearing some people, you know how we say Nana,
Mm-hmm.
Nana, Nana, Nana. That's
Nana. Yes.
Nana. That's
Yes.
Nana. But we say over here Nana. That's Nana.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's Nana. That's
Mm-hmm.
Nana. So, like you said, and I'm thinking right now, Baba, these are Africanisms, like you said, that
Yes.
exist right here in
Yes.
in our culture that we don't recognize it. And like you said, if we're careful, some of those Africanisms we might demonize them simply because white
Right.
people don't approve of them. That was beautifully said, Baba. And I'm looking at Canada Race and Joy's comment.
Mhm.
Canada Race and Joy said, as Black people, we need a frame of reference of
Right.
who we were that precedes Islamic and European invaders. And we had that though, Baba.
Yes,
When you
that
think about
information
it,
is there.
we
That
have it.
information is there, and and thank the creator for a lot of our great scholars and historians who broke the mold that was in that great generation that was less like 50 years, 50, 60 years up from slavery. Your Arturo Schomburgs and your Joel Augustus Rogers and a little later on Dr. John Henry Clark and others who went out there and said, hold up, hold up. Who are we? Who were we before this? I don't believe this mess because
That's
it's too
right.
much. We doing too much on our little sharecropping land down south. It's too much stuff that we do that's beautiful that white folks don't do. So where did this stuff come from? And they
Right.
went and got that story. Y'all, they kidnapped over 100 distinct ethnic groups from West Africa alone. Right. And all those people have a story, whether it's Mandinka people, whether it's Fulani people, whether it's Mende people, they all have a story, whether it's Benin, you know what I'm saying? They all have a distinct story, culture. And when you go look at it, you'll find your frame of reference. You're like, oh, that's where that comes from. Right? When you look at Benin bronze statues, a lot of them be like brothers dripped and draped up in gold and jewelry. And you look and say, oh, I ain't ghetto. My ancestors might be, but that's how we used
That's
to
what we
drip.
used to.
We've been about that drip, y'all. We've been having sauce for centuries. You know what I'm saying? We known for looking good. You know where we go, we take a picture. You know, so the art is there. Their attitudes, languages, words, pictures, images, it's there. So we do have a frame of reference. That frame of reference has been outlawed. That frame of reference has been intentionally kept from us. That's why we focus on education. And that's why we
Absolutely.
focus on African-centered education and what this symbol is all about. Because once you get that frame of reference, you sit up straight and say, oh, hold up. Okay. So for example, in the Uhuru Academy, when we teach grammar, we don't call it proper English. We say marketplace English, right? When you enter into the marketplace, say ing, say You know what I'm saying? When you enter into the marketplace, don't use double negatives. But when you at home, be comfortable and speak your language, the language of your house. Because our ancestors were linguistic geniuses who were kidnapped from their home by foreigners. They didn't go to English class. They had to master the language by listening and infuse their words into the language, make the language phonetically comfortable for them. And they did it so good that white folks started taking their words.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, Bob. And I want to
Mm,
talk about that. I want to focus on that. Just how important African centered um, education is,
mhm.
Baba, because we have to understand that when we send our children to the public school system, right?
Right.
A lot of our people don't understand, Baba, that our children are going through a process, right? They're going through a socialization process. They're
Mhm.
going through an acculturation process. So they're being socialized and they're being acculturated as they go through. So we have to be very, very mindful of who educates our children. So if you want your child to be European centered, which a lot of our children come out to be, just black skinned Europeans, then go in and send your child to the public school system. But if you want your
That's right.
child to be African centered, then your child must attend an African centered or must undergo an
I
African
say.
centered educational process, which
Yes.
entails cultural is a cultural and social, right? A cultural and socialization process. That's what education is. Your child is learning culture. Your child is being socialized, right? That's
I
what's
say.
happening. Their consciousness is being formed. Okay, when they
Mhm.
go through this education process. So again,
Mhm.
Baba, it's no, I'm not surprised
And
when
it's
I
very
look at these
deliberate.
absolutely very deliberate. But Baba, what I was getting ready to say is I'm not surprised when our children come out and they think like Europeans and they act like Europeans because that meant they underwent a European educational process.
Yes.
So we think and behave like them. Go ahead, Baba.
I see young people, fantastic and talented young people who come out of school and they've listened, they've taken on it culturally, and they begin to
Absolutely.
gravitate towards white culture because they feel like there's no other choice. To them, for them, black culture is ghetto. Black culture is I'm going to end up in jail. Black culture for them is something different. I've talked to young brothers who be like, man, I would love to get a sister, but they don't like brothers like me because I go to class. They don't like brother. They want thugs. So there's so many tropes out there because of how Black culture has been redefined, and limited and put into this box of self-destruction, that now our children, because they haven't received another view of what Black culture is, and most importantly, they haven't been empowered to know that they determine what Black culture is. They feel like, well, then I need to go over here so I won't be ridiculed around the people who look like me. Perhaps I can go over here and they'll treat me better. And what a lot of them find out when they go over there is that them folks is wilder than the folks that they just left over here.
Come on.
Right? Like I see somebody in the comment, KC was commenting about the sister that was twerking on tables and cussing people out, and I was looking at it and saying, oh, you must ain't never hung around white folks. See, I've been around, you ain't studied the history of Europe. You know what I'm saying? And the history of orgies in Rome and in Greek culture and you know what I'm saying? The rape culture of ancient Europe that they brought right over here into America. You ain't been in New Orleans lately where the white women pulling their shirts up and shaking their titties out like that. You know what I'm saying? Baba. So this European culture. Okay, the anger lashing out violently rather than discussing and listening. Y'all, I know on TV white people seem very reasonable. I know they do. They seem it's so cool when you get to define yourself first. So everyone assumes that you're great off top without knowing you. So they can see a million white folks act ratchet, and you'll still be like, oh, why did that white person act like that? But you see two Black people act ratchet, you be like, ooh, Black folks ain't, ooh, look at Black folks. We all get defined by what two people do because your pre-existing definition as already tells you that that's what we are. I remember being smart in school, and I remember my Black teachers coming to me and saying, you special, you can get out. You dark-skinned and smart. Like that don't happen. You understand? You know what I'm saying? So the definition was no one expects you to succeed because of the way you look, including people who look like you.
Like you. Facts, Baba. Facts. That's facts. And see, Baba, that's why it's important that, as Dr. Amos Wilson say, that we control all of the mechanisms that shape and condition, right? All the mechanisms that condition the mind. We have to be in control of that. So we have to be in control of the education system, right? We have to be in control of the cultural system in the community, right? Because the community is it's cultural, right? So we have to be in control of that. We got to be in control of the media that our children consume, right? The books that they consume, the videos that they watch, the music that they listen to. So all of these different mechanisms shape the mind. Hell, the family. We got to get the culture together within our households because that's how our children get acculturated first, right? Right in our households. And so I know that Kobe Cambon, Dr. Kobe Cambon, and peace be upon his soul, he wrote a book called Cultural Misorientation. He also wrote a book called The African Personality in America. And in those books, he talked about how how we acquire this psychological cultural based disorder called cultural misorientation. And he said we get a lot of it right there from family members. So our family members are responsible for this cultural misorientation that we have, right? Because your mother may be Europeanized. Sorry, Papa, your dad may be, Europeanized. Okay. And then your auntie, your uncles, your grandma, your cousins, your peer group. So we got to get the culture together in the home first and then within the community, Baba. But go ahead.
Right. And we have to understand that being Europeanized was a very viable survival tool for our people here, particularly after slavery. I'm reading a book right now, Black Education in the South between 1875 and 1935. And in that book, it talked about what a big deal it was, what Black people were going to be taught in school. There were whole movements, right, to determine among white people, whole arguments, debates, and bidding wars among white people on how Black people were to be educated. And philanthropists from the South and the North were ready to throw money at any school that promise not to teach black people anything outside of menial labor.
Mm.
No high sciences, no history of civilizations, none of that. Just straight up menial labor. The way black people think is important in this country. This is not an accident, right? And so when we start attributing some of the negative things we do to us being black, right? No, this has a beginning. This has been a deliberate miseducation, as Carter G. Woodson talks about in the miseducation of the Negro. What are you being educated to miss?
Come on.
When you're being miseducated, what are you being educated to miss? You're missing out on circulating your dollars. You're missing out on building the institutions that you need to control the culture, to control the narrative. I love hip hop, right? But we don't own hip hop.
No, we don't.
We don't own hip hop. And it's only recently with the advent of technology that artists have been able to take more ownership. Like we're in a situation right now that if we build our schools and get this information out there, our children have the power at their fingertips right now to push a positive message. But we have to invest in them and facilitate that shift in the culture.
Facts.
But we got competition.
Facts, Baba.
We got
Facts.
competition. Okay, the biggest rap star in the world right now is a brother by the name of NBA Youngboy, and I'm not bashing NBA Youngboy because of his miseducation, right? But the machine is getting behind him because his message is self-destructive.
Absolutely. They push
You
that,
see what I'm
Baba.
saying?
Yeah, they push
Yeah,
that, Baba.
yeah.
Yeah, they
It's
push
one
that.
of pain. It legitimate. I'm not delegitimizing his pain as a human, right?
No.
But it's one of pain. It's one of self-loathing. It's one of going at your enemies. It feeds the whole kill the op kind of attitude. You know what I'm saying? And the machine is 100% behind that. So we have to get behind the young people who are out here pushing a counter message, pushing another experience, because most of our children just want to live and have a good life. That most of our children are not thugs. When people say these babies out here don't want to learn, they all out here killing each other. No, most of our children are not killing each other.
Facts, Baba. Facts.
All right. Most of our children, but those who are not in pushing the positive message, that machine that you trust every day, that European machine that pushes sex and violence all the time. They're
Sex,
not
money, drugs, murder. Sex, money, drugs, murder.
even in their stuff, right? They're not interested in putting money behind an alternative message, because this message feeds capitalism. This message helps keep us a permanent underclass. It feeds slavery, which is the prison system, right? So cultural creations of white people. We're not just talking about black folks who act white. We're talking about black people who act in a self-destructive manner based on definitions given to them by white people.
Baba,
Given
say,
to us by white people.
Hold on, Baba. You gotta say that again. Say that again, Baba. When you say cultural creation, what's the definition of a cultural creation of a European? What's that, Baba?
Yeah. So when we say blacks, we are cultural creation of Europeans. We're not just talking about black folks who act white. We're talking about black people who take on the definitions of black people that white people have created. Right. Mm-hmm. So if white people created the black savage, when you take on that definition, you're a creation. You're a cultural creation of white people. White people created that. White people created the sellout. White people created the coon. White people created the buck. White people culturally created the athlete that's only good for knocking people over. You know, that was big time sport on the plantation, right? So cultural creations of white people. Right? When we talk about cultural creations of Europeans, we're talking about black people who put ourselves and remain in that box of what white society says black people belong in.
Come on, Baba. The thug, the bad bitch, right?
The thug, the bad bitch, the athlete. You know
come
what I'm saying?
Baba.
The whoremonger, the as Dr. Branch called me back in the day, the philanderer. You know what I'm saying? The young buck that gotta hit it and stick it. You know what I'm saying? And so these are cultural creations. We call that black. We call that acting black. But you're not acting black. You're not being black. right. And even if you are, we have the power to redefine that. Kuji Chagulia,
Chakalia.
we have the power to define what being black is. Now, being black is being an engineer, because the first engineer was black.
Ashe.
Acting black is being a doctor, because the first healers were black. Right,
Ashe.
right. We, and this is the truth. We have more evidence of our culture being productive, being innovative, right, and being powerful, than we have evidence to the contrary. This is new stuff.
Ashe, Baba.
My
Ooh,
bad. I
Baba.
got
No,
on my I
Baba,
got
no,
on
no.
my
I,
box.
I
I
like
got
when you
my
go in your box,
box
though.
a little bit.
I like when you go in your box, though, Baba, because you was like, we ain't talking about, because you're right. As soon as you say, oh, black people, cultural creation, the white people, oh, they talking about sellouts, Sambos,
Right,
coons, Uncle
right.
Toms. That's what they talking about. No, like you said, that thug, that bad B, all that's cultural creation of white
Hey,
folks. You get what I'm saying? And
hey.
we gotta rid
Yes,
ourselves, Baba. We
yes,
gotta extricate ourselves from
yes,
that, separate
yes,
from that. But we
yes.
have to identify it first.
Have to identify first. I tell brothers who was caught up in the streets, and I used to deal with Crips and Bloods and cats who was hustlers all the time, right? And I would tell, I say, man, ooh, if y'all had some cultural cohesion like them Italians, right? Because those Italians, they out there and they committing the same crimes you committing, but they know they're Italians. So they're gonna go and have an Italian only meeting and say, hold up, me and you ain't even friends, but we both Italians. We know who the enemy is. So let's lay a code down to where we can make this work for all Italians.
That's right. That's
A
right.
commission. Right. But when you don't have a culture to come back to, see, a bunch of N-words can't sit down and unite on nothing.
You ain't lying about that, Baba.
Because look what you're defining yourself as, right? When we sit down as Italians, we're saying, ooh, ancient Rome, Italy, Sicily, right? But when you sit down as black folk and you don't know your story before slavery, how slaves gonna take over a community? But they make enough money to where you could sit down and say, hold up, we might be the hustlers, we might be the black mafia, but we could protect our community. If we just know we were African, if we just had a little pride, let's build stores. Let's
Baba,
take over the stores.
African
Huh?
Baba. What? When I said that on a live stream and put it on Instagram, they threw tomatoes at me when I said, "Oh, we're African." They was like, "What, doctor? I'm not no African." People started saying I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and peace to my
Right,
peace and look, peace to my Hebrew Israelites. I
right,
don't
right,
care what you call yourself. But
right.
when I put out there and I said, "Hey, we all African," the Moors came after me. The Hebrew Israelites came after me. Um, FBA, which I am a part
Mm-hmm.
of, ADOS,
Right,
which I'm a part of,
right.
FBA, ADOS, Hebrew Israelites, and the Moors. All of them came after me, and then the
Mm-hmm.
people, the Dan Calloway, I think that's his name, Dan Calloway or Dane Calloway, whatever. But the
Mm-hmm.
Calloway folks came after me. We not Africans. Slavery never existed. Harriet Tubman didn't exist. We've always been here, and that's another thing, Baba, that I'm going to do in the
Mm-hmm.
next show in the next couple of weeks. I ain't gonna say next show, but next couple of weeks, address Dane's that the Dan Calloway or Dane Calloway. I might be mispronouncing his name, and it is no pun intended. I think his name is either Dan or Dane. I'm not sure, but I
Right.
do want to address his so-called scholarship because he's
Yeah.
saying, Baba, that we're not Africans, that we were always here, that the
Okay.
slave trade happened in reverse. There's no such thing as Harriet Tubman. And so he says a lot of that stuff. And people are now inboxing me on Instagram, sending me videos. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get some folks like you, Brother Ong, Baba Emotep, some folks together to
Right.
address these claims that are going viral on the internet. So our people, Baba, are really confused right now. And what's
A
sad,
lot of
Baba, is
confusion
when
out
we get
there.
our people together, it's
Mm-hmm.
like we can't build because you worried about this person being in a nation, this person you worried about they are more, you worried
Mm-hmm.
about Hebrew Israelite. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what you call yourself.
Yes.
Let's come together and build something, Baba. We can worry about that stuff later. Let's come together. Let's just adopt a race first mentality
That's
and
it.
build something, Baba. But people get so caught up with what labels,
Mm-hmm.
these labels. I'm
Mm-hmm.
ADOS. I'm what is it? ADOS. I'm foundational. I'm FBA. I'm
Right.
this. I'm that. I'm this. Let's come together. Let's adopt a race first mentality and let's fight oppression. That's where I'm at, Baba. I don't care what you call
Yeah.
yourself. You could call yourself, look, I'm looking at your backdrop. Call yourself green for all I care.
Pick a
let's
name,
pick a
any
name.
name,
Right, Baba. Let's come
any name.
together. Let's come
Let's,
together
let's
and
put
let's fight
names in a hat.
oppressions. Right.
Yeah, let's put names in a hat. Okay, as long as we keep to the agenda, which is another aspect of us being a white cultural creation. Right. We're mad at black folk. We're so mad at each other. We're so mad at each other that we'll allow a label to stop progress.
Yes.
Right? We're so upset at each other that when I discover some information, say, hey, we always been here, and you studying information, say, well, our ancestors came over from Africa. We'll forget that we still in the same fight.
Right.
We
Facts.
still won't. We'll stop talking about what we want in common and spend time having arguments with each other, because the truth of the matter is you're afraid to actually go at the problem. It's easier to go at me.
Yeah. Say
You
it,
know,
Baba.
if I was on the plantation and I was really scared to rebel, right, I would act like I wanted to rebel, but then I'll attack you. I say, see, Dr. Ma'at ain't trying to fight back. No, what we need to do is get rid of Dr. Ma'at. Because see, till Dr. Ma'at just realize that we gotta burn up the hay before we kill the horses, we can't get nothing done. And then you like, yeah, see, Baba Amin wanna burn the hay. I say we kill the horses. See, that's why we can't come together. No, the problem is we both scared.
Tell the truth, Baba.
The
Tell the
problem is
truth.
we both know what need to be done, and we scared to do it, and we're hiding behind principalities and ideologies. We're hiding behind them, right? And the aspect of it, though, that I was going to say that's a white cultural creation, right, is our ability to boycott blackness.
Mm.
White people do a great job of boycotting black-owned businesses, boycotting black initiatives, a great job of that. And running a very close second. Matter of fact, 1 and 1A is black people. We boycott us so well.
Mm-hmm.
We'll look at a group of black folks. They might be the Muslim on the corner selling a paper. I ain't getting that paper.
Baba, you said roll your window up.
Yeah, I ain't getting that paper. Go crazy Muslim out there, brother out there hot, got a suit on. He ain't doing it. Trying to sell you a $1 paper that's about you. I ain't getting that paper. I ain't no Muslim.
Look, Baba, and then pull the McDonald's. And
Yeah,
then
they pull
go
right
through the
into McDonald's. Pull right into McDonald's. Go right to the gas station. You ain't even worried about the politics of the person at the gas station. You
Not
don't
at
know
all.
what McDonald's is donating to. You talking about, I hate Donald Trump getting your Chick-fil-A, and they done gave Donald Trump $1 million. You ain't even looking.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But
Facts.
let the weird looking black person out, the black person look different. That's outside that box out there needs something, right? We boycott him easily. We don't know if we want our children to be thugs, if they want to be successful. They out here spitting and talking about killing and murdering each other. Then when they get killed, we like, oh, that's messed up. That's so sad. He had to die. We mourning them. We so confused.
Facts, Baba. Facts.
We're
But like
so
you said,
confused.
just say you scared though. Just say
Just
you
say you
scared.
scared. Just say you scared, you know. And so we talk about the bed wench, right? And you know, the over sexualized black boys and black girls during slavery that were bought and sold specifically for those purposes, groomed specifically for those purposes. Then we look at some of the mainstream stars today getting awards and being called role models, playing that exact role in their music.
Right.
Playing that
Facts.
exact role in their music. That's a European cultural creation.
Mm.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, Baba, you ain't wrong. You
And
ain't
then
wrong. That is one.
we're confused because we love to see us successful, but it says like, yeah, I'm glad you won that, but oh, my children can't watch that, and I don't want my daughter to be nothing like you.
Yep. Facts.
And so that culture, that confusion is there because that the bed wench role that's a European cultural creation.
Mm-hmm.
See, I thought we was just gonna be talking about uppity Negroes.
That's what they thought. That's what I'm pretty sure they thought about a
Yeah, I
title.
thought we was just gonna be talking about uppity Negroes. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying? No, you know, and our beauty shines through in everything that we do, and that adds to the confusion too. Because we can't help it because Africa is in us. So even when we being ratchet, right? There's beauty in it. So you go to Korea and you see little Korean kids trying to rap and look like black gangster rappers from the United States.
Absolutely.
We're the most infectious people culturally in the world Man, if we took the reins of our message and decided what we wanted to tell the world, oh man,
It'd be game over,
it'd be
Baba. It
game
would be
over.
game over, Baba. I'm sitting here when you said that I was thinking about Wu-Tang Clan. You don't remember Wu-Tang Clan said they were bigger over in, I think it was China or
Yeah,
Japan
Japan,
or
yes.
when they were over here. And they,
Hmm.
on their documentary, you see the Japanese people, like you said, trying to dress like Raekwon and Method Man and Ghostface and
Yes.
RZA, and they knew all the words to their songs, Baba. So, like you said, man, we the salt of the earth.
We the
We are
salt of the
literally the
earth.
salt of the
Yes,
earth.
yes. But we're allowing someone else to control the narrative, right? And someone else is feeding off of our spirit, feeding off of our culture. We're feeding American capitalism, right? And we're not reaping the benefits. Matter of fact, it's to our own detriment. you
Facts,
know,
Baba.
to our own. We're glamorizing pathways that send our children to prison and perpetuate generational poverty. We
Facts,
so
Baba.
you know what I'm saying? And we have to be accountable to that. We have to hold ourselves accountable for that and take the reins, take control. Any institution that perpetuates black destruction does not deserve our support. Period.
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 Period, Baba. Like you said, it doesn't deserve our support. Period. The music, whatever it is, whether it's music, whether it's education, whatever's destroying us does
Mhm.
not deserve our support.
It,
Ashe,
sh-
Baba.
it should be a music studio in every church.
Hmm.
It should be a music studio in every neighborhood. It should be some sort of art center in every black neighborhood, fully vested, fully endowed, where black children can go in and express their true selves.
Hmm.
You know how many of these rappers, these babies out here are crashing out and dying because they feel cultural pressure to be a killer, to be a gangster, to perpetuate a European attitude, because that gangster Europe, that's a European cultural creation, to perpetuate these European attitudes in their music. These are just poets that if they had an opportunity to have the same exposure, to express themselves honestly, express their trauma, express their pain, express their hopes, right? And know that they're going to get a video, they're going to get views, they're going to have a whole machine behind them, our machine behind them. They would do it.
Absolutely.
They would do it.
Absolutely. Bob, I want to take a moment out to shout
Yes.
out to my sister Amina. This sister is a warrior.
I
She is
say.
a warrior. She is a warrior queen. And I know, sister, I saw the email that you sent the president of Howard. We've been flooding the presidents of Howard University. We've been flooding his inbox
I
with
say.
messages demanding that they issue a public apology to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. People on Twitter are talking about it. There are some people at Howard who are going to take it to the student body to
Mm.
push for that apology for Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Sister Amina was one of the first people who sent out an email. She CC'd me on it. And Baba, when I say she went in, she went all the way in
I
on
say.
on
Let's go,
why Dr.
Amina.
Francis Cress Welsing deserves an apology. I want to salute to Baba Donald. Baba Donald, he's in the building. I watch his page often. He's always putting up something enlightening. So I wanted to salute to Baba. Baba Donald is in the building. Go ahead, though,
I
Baba.
say. I
Keep
say.
on
I
building,
say.
Baba. I just had to
Y'all keep
recognize some
no,
folks.
no, no, and y'all keep up the great black work, because that's how we move the needle. That's how we move the needle, and that's something that I want people to understand. Like when we talking about this and talking about topics like this, we're not saying that we can't fix it, that there aren't solutions, that there aren't thousands and thousands of Africans out here every day, Africans, FBAs, ADOS, whatever you call yourself, us,
Right.
right? There's thousands of us out here every day fighting to control the narrative, fighting to build institutions, fighting to take control of our communities from every aspect. And our work is slowly but surely bringing us together, right? But at the same time, we have to address the problems, the issues, right? And we want other people to get involved. We must take control of our narrative,
Ashe.
of our
Ashe.
story. And so yeah, European cultural creations of white folks. Check yourself, right? If you don't know this story, if you don't know our story, right? You don't have some version of our story, then there is a high possibility that you are a cultural creation of white people.
And Baba, I fight it. Like, let me. Can I be
Me,
candid?
go
Can I be
ahead, go
candid,
ahead.
Baba?
Me too.
You know,
Yes.
I fight that. Like I
Mm-hmm.
recognize. I actually had Dr. Wade Nobles. He came on the platform. I think this was like last year, and we talked about killing the European inside of us, killing
Yes.
that European that's inside of you.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
battle, Baba. I'm telling you,
Yes.
I still fight. I fight. As Sister Amina just said, we're constantly evolving. You know what I mean? We
Right.
constantly evolving, but that's a fight to say, Dad God. I remember I want to say it was Carter G. Woodson who said that it took him over 30 years. Was that Carter G. Woodson who said it took him over 30
Mm.
years to reprogram his mind? I believe it was
Mm.
Carter G.
Yes.
I believe it was Carter G, Baba.
Hmm.
But it's like you have to check yourself constantly. Like you say, the
Right.
thoughts that you have. Golly,
Right.
is this a European thought and behavior?
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Is this a
Right.
European attitude? Is this, and you
Right.
have to constantly check yourself because I know that I have it. So
Hmm.
I know that I'm a cultural creation and I'm fighting to I'm fighting to eliminate that.
Right.
I'm fighting to strip myself of that, Baba. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because think
Right.
about it. I went through their system.
Hmm.
My whole look from what first grade, pre-K, all the way through PhD, went
Right.
through their entire
Right.
system. So to
Absolutely.
walk around and act like I'm not a cultural creation, I will be
Hmm.
lying to myself. So
Right.
it's about really identifying those things and eliminating those things, that thought and
Right.
that behavior, from our lives. And so I'm a work in progress, Baba.
We
And I
all
just I
are.
just wanted to say that. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
and we all are. We all are. And that's why African centered education is important because we can raise a generation that's a little further along than we are.
Come on.
See, we can raise a generation that'll take it to the next logical step because that generation will be the generation that's physically building communities, that's physically putting these ideas into action. Like we have enough books, right? We have so many plans. You take the blueprint of Black Power and actually put it into practice, right?
Facts.
Right. Then you're moving the needle, just having a generation that puts it into practice. And that's the purpose of African centered education,
That's Let's
Wow,
get
I
into the
like this
Uhuru.
website.
Yeah. That's what I said. When
Yeah.
you started talking about African centered education, I said, we
Hmm.
got to go to the Uhuru Academy. So,
Yes.
Baba, tell us about this. And you already know, family, my son will be attending the Uhuru Academy. When is the start date, Baba? You said
All right.
September?
School starts for us on September the 6th. We
That's what it is,
always
the
start the
6th.
day after Labor Day, and our last
Ashe.
day of school is always the last Friday in May. Right. And of course, we have summer programs. Technically, we year round. But we start on September 6th, but we enroll year round. But you want to get in now because space is limited in our online program. We have the best online K through 12 virtual private school on the planet.
Ashe.
Okay. This education experience, family, is different from anything that your child has experienced online. That's me looking into the camera, guaranteeing that to you. The Uhuru Academy did not go virtual because of the pandemic. We went virtual in 2015 because my wife and I were blessed to be able to start traveling the country and help other communities put African centered schools in their communities. Matter of fact, I'm sitting in one right now in
Ashe.
Columbia, South Carolina, where we have UASC International on the ground, functioning in its 7th year, right? Well, Uhuru
Ashe.
Academy is in its 12th year. All right. And Uhuru Academy Online is going into its 7th year, right? And K through 12, African centered, empowerment based. In other words, we ask your baby, why are you here? What you get your education for? Let's build this vision. What you want to be when you grow up? A doctor. What kind of doctor? I don't know. Well, you're about to study the different types of doctors. What type of engineer? I don't know. You know, there's a chemical engineer, there's electrical engineer. You're about to study that, right? It's vision development. It's empowerment based. It's African centered, and that don't mean we just teach a Black history class when we say African centered. Yes, we have Black history, but we weave our story into everything that we teach. We teach everything from the walk of our ancestors because we're going to tap into that part of your child's DNA that built pyramids. We're going to tap into that part of your child's DNA that built the University of Timbuktu.
Mm,
That part of your child's DNA that built the Tardigit societies and ancient Mali and ancient Songhai. The part of your child's DNA that defeated the French in Haiti. You know what I'm saying? That's what we tapping into, right?
Ashe.
Right. And so when we say African center, that's what we mean, right? So our children learn better when they own what they learn. When
Ashe.
math is yours, you embrace it. When it belongs to somebody else, you don't. It's that simple. right?
And Baba, that's a fact. I want you to say that again. When it's yours, what happens, Baba? We embrace it. But what?
We embrace it. But when it's somebody else's, we don't. You can't embrace it unless you first accept the fact that you're borrowing somebody else's stuff. Now you start assimilating like them, start wanting to be like them. And that's the seed of the mentality that causes you to go get that and not give black.
Mm, that's a
Right?
fact.
Yeah. I
That's a
went
fact.
through it. I went through it because I went to class and I was told I was acting white by getting my education. See, these are the definitions we have to destroy. And
That's
we
right.
have the proof. When the first schools in the world were built by African people, how can getting an education be acting white?
Baba, in science, when people say the white man's science, I said,
What?
God dang it. It's no such thing as the white man's science. We invented science.
Thank you.
You know, the systematic study of the natural world. We did that. We've been doing that for hundreds of thousands of
Hundreds of
years.
years. And that's not saying other people don't have a journey with science,
That's
but in
right.
African centered education, we focus on our journey.
That's right. That's right.
Why are you
That's
going to
right.
teach a black child when a white man discovered gravity? When did black people discover gravity?
That's right. That's right.
Look, what black folks didn't know what came up, came down until they got enslaved.
Right, Baba. What you say?
Well, we didn't know that what goes up must come down until Europeans put us on slave ship. We was waiting on Sir Isaac Newton. Oh, okay. All right.
Baba said, you think they didn't know?
Yeah, you ain't
That's a
know.
fact.
Now,
That's
come
a
on, y'all.
fact.
So in African centered education, it's not about white people. It's not a response to racism. That's
No,
not what it is. It's what a
no.
self-determining people naturally do when they're educating their children. They center it around their distinct walk with the universe. That's what you're supposed to do.
That's
I
right.
ain't mad at white folks for teaching history from a European perspective. They're Europeans. Asians teach history from an Asian perspective. Makes perfect sense.
Yes, it does.
We teach our story from an African centered perspective, and we encounter other members of the human family, right? When we encounter them, not when they encounter us.
That's right. That's right. When we encounter them, like you said, Baba, not when they encounter us.
Not when they
And
encounter
you
us.
know, African centered education is rooted in our history, psychology, and
That's right.
culture,
Right.
and the purpose of African centered education is to advance our interests.
I
You
say.
know, got to put that in there. It advances
Yes.
our interests, our agenda.
Right.
And
And,
that's what it's about.
Dr. Miles, somebody might come back and say, well, we should be trying to advance all people's interests. You are a part of all people.
That's right.
You are a part of all people. And if all people love you, then they'll celebrate you advancing your interests.
Absolutely.
Because unless they're exploiting you, then your success is their success. The only way your success is bothering somebody else is if they're benefiting off of your demise and
That's a
off of your
fact.
failure.
That's a fact.
So
And Baba,
anyone
let's
who don't want you to love you, don't love you.
yes, and Baba, let's not get it twisted. All groups of people have an agenda.
Come on. You
All
better.
groups of people have an agenda. All groups, whether
You
it's
better.
Hispanic, whether it's Asian, whether it's whites, and within whites you have the different Italians and blah blah blah. All groups of people have their
Yes.
daggone agenda.
Yes.
It's nothing wrong with us having our own agenda. All
Nothing
groups of
wrong at
people
all.
have it.
Nothing wrong. We got to understand that again, the assimilation, this integration attitude, this thing that says, no, we're going to be colorless, raceless. We're just going to be Americans and just kind of blend in and trust the people in power to treat us good. That's a European cultural creation too.
Oh, facts, Baba. Facts.
We just going to trust y'all to treat us good. And our only agenda is to be treated fair. That's our only agenda. We have no other agenda. What you want us to do, boss? We'll vote, boss. Which party do we vote right now, boss? Which one say they like black people? Democrat? Okay, boss, we're going to vote Democrat. Where should we shop, boss? Walmart? Okay, boss, we're going to shop at Walmart. But all we want y'all to do, boss, is don't let the police kill us.
Mm.
Treat us right, boss. Don't charge us extra when we get a house in the neighborhood full of white people, boss. Please. Well, that deal they break that contract every day.
Mm. Look, Chris Johnson said we've become the white man's Frankenstein, Baba. Oh, Chris Johnson. Chris always dropping. He always dropping jewels when he come through. He said the white man's Frankenstein. God.
I can't wait till we get to the part of the movie where Frankenstein turned around and choked Dr. Frankenstein and leave the castle. I can't
You
I
said you
can't wait
can't
till we
wait,
get to that
Robert, till
part
we
of the
get to
movie.
that part.
Yeah, where he choked the Dr. Frankenstein choked Dr. Frankenstein and leave the castle to go out into the world.
Mm. And then, Baba, look, while we were on the phone earlier today, you and I were even talking about how, we get our values from white folks. And so you were talking about labels. You went into Gucci. You started talking about Gucci and Louis Vuitton and
Right.
all these status symbols. They become status symbols to us. Baba, could you build on that for a second?
Yeah,
How that's a cultural creation of white
it's
folks.
it's a culture creation. The whole notion of status based on what you have, right? This
Material.
whole materialistic things, and don't get me twisted. Now, Africans have always looked good. We don't come from a poor people. We don't come from people who just didn't want nothing or have nothing or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about, right? But we do live in a society in the European world determines what has value. So what's the difference between a Gucci shirt and a Moochie shirt? Someone told you that Gucci has value. You might have a silk shirt that says Moochie, a silk shirt that says Gucci. Who taught you that Gucci is the one that you should pay for? Right? Because when we have our designers, and there's some great black designers out there, right? And they come up with their creations and they make it with the same material, but they put substance and culture behind it, and it looks good. It still ain't Gucci. Why?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't
Mm-hmm.
cause the Gucci shirt is magical. It's because you've been miseducated, educated to miss the value in what you create.
Mm.
That's what miseducation is. So now you get the money and you say, God bless me. I got Gucci on.
Right. It's sad, Baba. It's
God
so
don't know
sad.
what Gucci is. How you know what I'm saying? God bless me with a Bentley. No, God may have blessed you with fruit from your labor, but you chose to get a Bentley. You chose to give $300,000 to that company over there for a car. You chose to do that. You chose to give that value. And when we turn around and say this is God's blessing, all you doing is increasing their sales. That's all you doing.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say European cultural creations, that aspect of our culture that says express your blessing by supporting a famous white-owned business. Whoo, man, that's a cold lick right there.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I wish folks say, "Woo, as soon as God bless me, I'm putting my child in the Uhuru Academy."
Come on, Baba. Come on, Baba.
Ooh, now see, that's a blessing that's gonna keep on blessing. That Bentley gonna depreciate as soon as you drive it off the lot.
Mhm. But people get that Bentley, Baba, or the Benz, and we'll pay the $500 a month car note. But then when you say, "Oh, African Centered Education for my child," I can't afford it, Baba.
I
I can't
can't
afford it.
afford that. I can't afford that. It's not that you can't afford it, you don't value it.
Right there, we
You've
go.
been miseducated. You've been educated to miss the value in investing in your child's mind,
Mm.
right? And you're not alone. You understand what I'm saying? That's why we also have an adult class.
Right. Talk about that adult class, Baba.
Yes, we are launching an adult Black History class. The flyer, the ads are going to come out tomorrow. It'll be on the website, uhuruacademy.com, tomorrow as well. It's going to be a 7-part series. Each Saturday is going to be live, but it's also going to be recorded. So those who can't make the live class can get the recordings, right? And we're going to talk about us. We're going to talk about us from the beginning, because you can't start Black history in slavery.
Come
Right?
on.
You can't even start it in West Africa. Our history began when humanity began.
Say it, Baba.
Right? And so we're going to talk about the beginning and how it relates to today. Then we're going to talk about some of the great civilizations that Africans built. We're going to talk about some of the contributions that Africans have made to global civilization, right? We're going to talk about the Ma'afa and its impact on us today, right? We're going to talk about the future. Where are we going? Oh, and we go, oh, that one class, my favorite class, the first one is Who Are We?
Mm.
That's the first class.
Baba, how do we sign up for this class?
All right, so you're gonna go to uhuruacademy.com beginning tomorrow and sign up for the class. There'll be a link on the site on uhuruacademy.com. Now, if you just know you're ready, right, you can inbox me today. You can email me, as a matter of fact, at info at uhuruacademy.com. And I'll put that in the chat right
Yeah,
now.
put that in the chat,
Right,
Baba.
right, because we're still working on the admin aspect of it, But this is a class that I've taught before. I've gotten great feedback from my students in the past, and this is and the class is designed to teach you everything about our story. Because I've been studying our story for over 30 years, and I'm still learning our story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what
Ashe,
what is
Ashe.
what it's going to do, right? It's going to tap into your African center. That's what we're going to do. We're going to tap into your Black center, your truly Moorish center, your Ado center, whatever you want to call that center that make you down with us. That's the center that we're going to tap into
Nah, but that's what
and
that's
bring out. We're tapping into that. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
it's so Baba. This
And
is a
want to put
what
some facts behind it. So
it is.
let's
This
work.
is what this is once a week. Tell me about the course, the schedule again. I didn't catch
Yeah,
it.
so it's going to be once a week. It's going to be Saturdays, right? Saturdays live from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Okay,
Beautiful.
and it's
Okay.
going to begin our first class will be next Saturday, which is the 13th. Okay, and again, I'm going to get you all the information. I'm still working on the admin part, so y'all let me know. Just email me, let me know. But then everything will be up tomorrow. Matter of fact, we have a movie night tonight, and I'm gonna sneak and work on it while we're watching movies with the children tonight, and just to make sure everybody can go ahead and get signed up for the course. You know what I'm saying? It is tuition based. If you follow me on Facebook, I've already created an event for it on Facebook, so you can register on Facebook as well. And I'll put the link. I'll put
Yeah,
that link in here.
I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put it up,
Right,
Baba. So,
right, right.
Baba, so once a week for how many weeks? You said 4 weeks.
Well, it's 7, but you can
7 weeks.
come as many as you want, but it's 7. You know what I'm saying? But it's a la carte, right? So it is $50 a week, right? A class. But if you sign up now, you get 20% off.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
Baba,
So
I like that.
yeah, you sign up now. And if you serious, I'll take a donation.
Okay.
Okay. If
Okay.
you're serious, I'll take a donation.
Baba,
Okay.
let me ask you a question. Any particular textbook, or you gonna log on and do have
Oh, yeah.
slides or
Yeah, we're gonna have slides. We're gonna have our own Google Classroom where I'm gonna upload reading material. Oh, you're gonna get some free books too. You're gonna get
wow.
access. We have a very nice digital library, okay? And you're gonna have access to the Uhuru Academy digital library where you'll be able to go and read books, view only. I want you to buy the books. You'll be able to go in and open them anytime, but I'm not going to give you download
Right. I
access
don't
because
blame
I
you.
want you to
Like
go buy
you
the
want to
books,
buy the
right?
book, right?
We need to support these scholars and their
Absolutely.
families, right? So a
Absolutely.
lot of them who are no longer here, their families get the residuals. So we want to make sure that happens, right? But you'll be able to go on and have read-only versions of some of the greatest historical books that have ever been written. Works by J.A. Rogers, works by John Henry Clark, and others. You know what I'm saying? That'll be like foundational text. Okay, so you're going to get that reading suggestions. Again, that time with me and delivering it. You're going to get that perspective. Tapping into that aspect of it as well. And that Google Classroom you'll have access to into perpetuity, as long as I got a Google account. You got that. You know what I'm saying? So
Beautiful.
you're in there. And so I'm super excited about it. And then we're going to transition the class over to our new learning platform where we're going to have the pre-recorded classes, and you'll always be able to have access to that once you subscribe to the new uhuruacademy.org. But that's an announcement for another day.
No, Baba, I love it. And I love this idea of you. I love the whole thing. I mean, we had to be able to teach our children this information.
Right.
And now, we're tearing down the excuses. We're taking away the excuses one by one. First it
I see.
was, I can't send my child to an African-centered institution because I don't live near any. Oh, well, now you have African-centered education online. Then it was, well, I can't teach my child this information because I don't know it. Now you have a class, right?
Yes.
That will
Yes.
provide you with the information so you can teach this information to your child.
That's
So
right.
we're eliminating these excuses one by one, Baba, because usually it's always an excuse. Can't send my child to an African Center education. I don't live out African Center education institution. I don't live near
Right.
one. I can't teach my
Right.
child this information because I was never taught the information. I don't know the information.
Right.
But now you're saying, hey, here's some adult classes for you to
Yes.
come on 90 minutes. That's nothing. That's nothing, Baba.
It's nothing.
90
90
minutes.
minutes.
90 minutes a week. Upload some reading material, come in, listen to some lectures, talk, have discussions, build with
Oh,
people
oh, and
7 weeks.
documentaries. Oh, we're gonna tell them all the right documentaries to look at, Doc. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? We're gonna give them all the good stuff, the stuff we've watched that we've seen, right? So if you love what you hear Dr. Ma'at say, if you
mm.
love what you hear me teach, and some of the great teachers like Baba James Smalls and others that come on the platform, if you want to go get that foundational knowledge, I'm trying to give you the game.
I say.
I'm trying to give you the game, right? And you're not paying for the information. You're paying for my time, and you're supporting African-centered education with your tuition.
And Sister Amina, that's that warrior. This is my girl right here, warrior. She said, no more excuses. Matter of fact,
No,
Baba, I'm getting ready. It's some young brothers in Baltimore. They have they're selling a shirt that says no more excuses, right?
I say
And I'm getting ready to get a shirt. So she'll see Amina, Sister Amina, you'll see me wearing a skirt. No more excuses.
no more,
No
no more.
excuses.
Matter of
Yeah,
fact, I
man.
have a flyer for our adult education program, Operation Reconnect. I have a flyer that has that straight out of Compton graphic, but it says straight out of excuses.
Yes,
You know what
Baba.
I'm saying? Straight out of excuses, y'all. No excuses. It's all about accountability because guess what? Accountability is African. That's
Absolutely.
a very black thing to be accountable.
Accountable. I
Yes.
say. Oh,
Not
Sister
being
Amina,
accountable is a
Sister Amina,
European cultural creation. That's all
Si-
I'm saying.
Sister Amina, drop your size in the chat, because when I get it from those young brothers, let me know, and they have different colors too. Let me know the color you want. So I'm gonna grab her a shirt and mail her a
I
shirt when I
say,
go over. That's my sister right there. Always
that's what's
supporting.
up. That's what's
Always
up.
supporting.
That's
She
what's
said
up.
XL. What color, Queen? And let me write this down really quickly. I need a pen, need a piece of paper.
That's real right there. That's real.
Yeah.
And y'all, the reason why I call not being accountable a European cultural creation, because they won't even take accountability for what they did to you, do to you, and done to your ancestors.
She said black.
So a lot of times we talk about accountability. Black folks need to hold themselves accountable. I mean, come on, man. When we
Right.
don't, that's not being black. Don't charge that to our blackness. Charge that to our exposure to European culture that says might makes right. And as long as you can get away with it, you don't have to be held accountable for it. Because if
Absolutely.
Europeans believed in accountability, your reparations check would have been in the mail a long time ago.
Facts. Facts, Baba. Facts. And before we cut out of here, I want to introduce people. I know they've been seeing me promote this I'm getting ready to put up conscious ingenuity.
I say,
Yeah, Baba, I had to look, Baba, I had to do it. Oops.
Dr. Ma,
There we
you
go.
building an army of engineers.
Baba have to. Baba have to. Look, building engineers who go out and build engineers. I tell
That's
people
right.
all the time that I have adopted, Booker T. Washington's model. And I talk about this. It's going to be a video, Baba, that's going to come out that talks about the whole conscious ingenuity. We have a 12-minute documentary, but of course, I'm going to grab clips of that, clips from the documentary to post on social media. But in one of the clips, I talk about how, conscious ingenuity model is influenced by Booker T's
Mm,
Tuskegee model. Because remember, at Tuskegee University, students not only went there to learn or to master, one or more industries, they also mastered how to teach those industries. And so my conscious ingenuity model is heavily influenced by Booker T. Washington, in that I actually, the instructors who are, who work for conscious ingenuity, they've been trained by me. Literally, they've taken me for 3 semesters at Morgan State University. They've taken me for 3 semesters, and I've handpicked these young men and young women to go into schools to teach engineering from an African center, or I don't want to say engineering, but to teach STEM from an African center. I don't want to say STEM. Let me go back. STEAM from an African center perspective. And so that's science, technology, engineering, art, and math. We can never forget the art. We can never forget the art. But I actually trained and handpicked these young men and young women. Baba, matter of fact, let me pull up their picture. I gotta show my warriors, Baba. I gotta show my warriors. Gotta show my warriors. Where are the pictures? Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
where are the warriors?
These are the warriors we need.
Right here.
Come on.
Right here. They're my warriors. And most of
Yeah.
them, I had them since they were freshmen. at Morgan. And so these are my warriors. Where's the young sister? She's there too.
Oh
We got
yeah.
the queen of the pack, Deja. So
Yes.
she's there too. And she's wonderful too. Actually, her mom is a teacher, but this is Kendall, this is Amin, this is Aaron, and this is Chaz, and this is Deja. And so these are
Come
my
on.
instructors for conscious ingenuity. Let me go back and show the family some of the children. We have we were able to
Look at all that love on your
expose.
page.
I'm about to say, look at there we
Look at
go.
all that love on your page.
These are my children right here. We were able to touch over 100 kids, in 1 year, exposing them to STEAM, you know. And so
Yeah.
anyway, I'm just showing the people, Baba,
I say.
showing the people what I've been into. And Baba, I gotta flex because that collab that we did, Baba, was
Yeah.
off the chain. That collaboration,
Yes.
that STEAM collaboration with African history, African
Yes.
STEM history, and
Yes.
then the actual hands-on STEAM.
Yes.
Baba, we gotta do it again.
Oh yeah, that's
Baba,
the
that collab,
model. I said
that
that's the model right there.
Yes, that
Right,
collab
right,
was off
right,
the chain, family.
right.
And for those who don't know what we're talking about, literally, Baba and I just concluded, maybe a week or so ago, the summer camp at the Uhuru summer camp, which
Hmm.
was a STEAM summer camp
Right.
where the students were exposed to African STEM history and STEM concepts. And the STEM concept was it was a focus on coding. So the
Yes.
children learned coding concepts using a microbit, which is a mini computer. And so they created different things. They actually created a game at the end of the camp. So they
Right.
learned different coding concepts, and we built that up to a game. Not only or did they create a game, but they also have, we call it a tinker kit with like
Yes.
LEDs and different things. So Bob and I are talking about doing a part two where
That's right.
maybe for 1 week they come back in and we apply the tinker kit with the LED modules, the
Yes.
buzzers, the motors, and different things, and we do some coding with that. So Bible, we gotta get up. We
We have to
have to,
do it. I
Bible.
was even thinking of STEAM Saturday school. A
Bible,
STEAM
I'm with it.
Saturday course, a Saturday series. They know on Saturday they finna get up and be on that micro bit.
Oh,
On
Bible, look.
Saturday, they about to get up, they finna learn some history and get on that micro bit, you know what I'm saying? And tinker, talk
Oh,
about projects, come back the next week, with the project. What about an
that's
Africa Centered STEAM Saturday program?
this is my STEAM program right here, Bible. I'm
Look,
already on it, Bible.
look at that.
I'm
Look,
already on it, Baba. I
yeah,
call it Saturday. What did I call it? Saturday morning STEM with Doc. And so these kids log on with me for 1 hour at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And we've been doing kits. So the kit that we're working on right now, I love this kit. It's called you see why I go under the desk, Baba. So they're working so they're
you
working with
true
this
to it. You ain't new to it.
this easy electric circuits. So it has 20 experiments. It has 20 experiments. And so I've been working with them on, a matter of fact, where's my little picture? Because I had to do a selfie with my
Right.
children. Oh, here it is. Here's my selfie, I think. Yeah, that's my selfie.
I
That's my selfie with my
say,
boys. So we do this
yeah,
every morning, Papa. We get up, and we've been going through the kit. And I'm glad that I'm going through it with them because the kit kind of tells them how to put these pieces together. But
right.
me being there, I can tell you what these pieces are, what
Hmm.
they do, what they're capable of, what they're incapable of. So I really enjoy doing this with the
I
kids
say.
Saturday morning. But let me go back to this program
all these
really
all these
quickly.
beautiful and powerful African cultural creations that you're showing us. That's African culture. That's Black culture, y'all. Science, technology, engineering, the arts, mathematics, the creating the engineers and teachers that you're creating. Those young people with those shirts on, man. What if that caught on? When we see y'all need to be saying stuff like, man, Black kids should be out there trying to learn STEM.
That's right. That's
Let's
right,
start some
Baba.
new stereotypes. You just saw a group of Black youth that are teaching other Black youth about engineering, about coding, right? So let's define our children by that.
Absolutely,
Let's
Baba.
increase that population. Come
No,
on, y'all. Come on.
absolutely. So, family, it says it right here, conscious ingenuity. We're building character, confidence, and capabilities through STEAM. It says that our program incorporates culturally responsive framework to teach science, technology, engineering, art, and math
Gosh,
concepts.
hey.
And look at this, Bob. But the aim of the program is to cultivate a new generation of people who value and operate with our character, as well as possess confidence in self, family, community, right? So we're trying, what we're doing, I don't say trying, we're producing conscious STEM ready. I said people, Baba said, no, Africans, conscious STEM ready Africans is our objective. And so we
I
explore
say.
different topics: coding, circuits, robotics, cybersecurity, songwriting, storyboarding, animation, and history. As it says on the website, the character development is a major component of our program. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We incorporate activities that actively address self image, self esteem, and self confidence. So, again, we're
I
building
say.
character, we're building
I
confidence, we're
say.
building capabilities. All right. We have a hands on curriculum. Okay. Again, our curriculum is African centered. What are the benefits of this curriculum? Well, we want our children to walk out. We want our children to cultivate critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, collaboration, creativity. We said perseverance,
Mm,
communication.
yes,
Let me keep going. So then we get into why we need STEM people. We need STEM people to build a nation. So
that's right.
why conscious ingenuity? We need Black people who know how the nation build. There's no way in hell, Baba, that we can nation build without people, without scientists, without engineers, and without mathematicians. And a lot of our
Yes.
children, it's not that they don't, and this is what we're finding out now. It's not that our children aren't interested in STEAM or STEM,
Right.
but it's that interest isn't supported. So you may come in, they may come into the classroom interested in STEM or STEAM, but by the time it's taught to them, they're like, man, this is boring, man. I don't even see myself, in this. So their
Right.
interest isn't supported. And I also found out, Bible, when I was writing a proposal last year, that when our children go into the universities, they say around sophomore, junior year,
Mm-hmm.
40% of them change their major from a STEM major to a non-STEM major. So again,
Mm,
their interest isn't being supported, and
right.
how they learn isn't
Right.
being supported. Okay.
Right.
And so that's why it's important that we teach our babies STEM from
I
an African
say.
centered perspective. So to
Exactly.
support their interests and to increase their comprehension. So anyway, we're trying to increase, the number of Black children, African
Right.
children in STEM. And so anyway, I'm going to put up my website. I'll put the website in the chat. So
You're
family,
doing a
come here and
great
sign up,
job. You're
family.
doing a great job, Dr. Ma'at, because we're providing them with a cultural grounding, you know what I'm saying, inside of STEM, inside of STEAM, right? A
Absolutely.
cultural grounding that says, oh, I belong here. This is mine. And when we say how they, according to how they learn, that means we're making it relatable.
Absolutely.
You know, they can see the importance of it, the value in it. Where can
Right.
we go with this? The possibilities with it, right? And dealing with instructors who can speak their language and understand their learning styles. That makes all the
Absolutely.
difference in the world.
Absolutely. So, family, sign up. Come over here.
Yes.
All you got to do is just click up. Look at this. Put your name on it, email address, sign up. And I know some people in the chat asked about, the camp. Be sure to go over to Huru Academy, and Bob will make some announcements, and I'll make some
Yes.
announcements. So, like I said, you can sign up on both pages. We'll definitely send you out an email when we're going to do part 2 of the camp. All right,
I say
family. So we got our kid, Baba, the programs are here. Parents, we have no more excuses.
none.
We have no more
None.
excuses. It's just time to get busy. Like you said, Baba, we have the books, we have the video. Shout out to Transatlantic Productions. We
I
have a lot of
say.
those lectures, Baba, of our ancestors, our elders, talking about African centered education, talking about nation building work. Now it's time to do it. No more talking.
That's right.
I
That's
may
right.
need a shirt that says that. No more talking.
No more talk. Let's go.
Yeah, enough talking. It's
Come on.
time to do. It's time to do. So, Bobby, do you have any closing words for the listening audience?
Well, I want to say to the listening audience, y'all show some love for Dr. Mai. I show some love for Dr. Ma'at. Make sure that you're sharing. Make sure you're liking the videos. Make sure you're supporting the channel. You know what I'm saying? This is not for superficial reasons. This is
Mm,
because the information needs to be out there. And if our sister is well taken care of as a result of this righteous work, her success is our success.
Ashe.
Okay. So let's make sure that this platform continues to grow. And I just want to express my appreciation to you, Dr. Ma'ai, for giving me the opportunity to come on and share with your audience. They trust you, and through you, hopefully I will earn that same trust. Thank you.
Ashe, and Baba, thank you. I want to tell the audience, show Baba Amin some love in the chat. Baba, I salute you for all that you're doing for our
Yeah, thanks.
children. Look, you had a packed day, and I called you, Baba, can we go live around 7? And I pushed it to 7:30. You said, I'll be there because you had something going on today. I
That's
think you
right.
said it was a consultation or orientation or something.
We had a village meeting at UASC International with new parents and returning parents getting ready for school to start, because on campus we start on August 16th. And
Beautiful.
so the family at UASC, shout out to Keontae Infinite and Carrie Washington and Lashaya and the whole Washington family, the
Beautiful.
leadership over there, Dr. Adesanya, the whole team over there at UASC International doing some fantastic. That's the campus model. Oh, it's some stuff going on, y'all.
Beautiful. And so, Baba, look, after you did all that, I'm up here blowing your phone up, texting you, Baba, can you come on? You said, I'll be there. You said, I'll be there. And you came, Baba. You came, and I just appreciate all that you're doing for the community. You've been doing this work for what, over 20, 30 years, Baba?
30,
you
yes.
know, over 30 years, Baba. And so I just salute you for all that you've been doing. I thank you for your time, because I know you got a whole family over there. I've seen the family.
A whole crew.
Baba, look, when you pulled up to Baltimore, I just seen little kids come out the car one by one. So I see, look, I saw you got out the car first, and then the wifey, you know, Mama and Koyo, she got out the car, and then I saw all these little people. So I said, "Dang God!" So Baba, look, so I said, Baba, I thank you for taking time out. You know, because you could be with your family right now.
Yes.
You know, but you're here. It was a wonderful build. You dropped so many jewels. So much wisdom. As a matter of fact, like I say, always when I finish building with you, I take it to the big screen. I sit back and I watch it, because it may be some things that I miss. Because like I said, you're constantly dropping jewels. So that's why sometimes I say, Baba, can you say that again? You know, because it's a bomb that was dropped. Right. So Baba, I give thanks, you know, for your time and for your energy and for your work. Family, be sure to support the Uhuru Academy. You see the website is on the screen, www.uhuruacademy.com. Please go there, sign your child up today. Not tomorrow. Baba said that. What did you say, Baba? The school starts in September the 6th?
September the 6th.
September the 6th, family. Get your baby in Uhuru Academy. And remember, I don't ask you all to do something that I wouldn't do. Baba will tell you Jalen was with him over the summer for 2 weeks. Jalen will be there with him in the fall. And so Baba, literally half of his education, he did go through the public school system, but no more, Baba. The rest of his education, you know, from 7th to 12th, that's going to be with the Uhuru Academy.
Absolutely.
And so that's how we doing it, Baba. And so I'm leading by example, Baba. I can't be a hypocrite, Baba, and tell people to be, you know, oh, you got to get your child in African Centered Education and sending mine to the public school system, you know. And so again, family, make sure that you enroll your child in the Uhuru Academy today. Hit the consultation button. You know, Baba meet with you, send you out a link. You talk via Zoom. He'll work something out with you to get your baby started, okay?
That's right.
We need our babies in African-centered education. And another thing, Baba, let me tell you what's getting ready to happen. They're going to close the system down again. This monkeypox stuff is spreading. COVID is spreading. And I know right now they keep saying the monkeypox is just in the gay community. They keep saying that, but just like they did with HIV, it was only in the gay community.
They said that about HIV.
HIV, and then everybody started getting it. So they're saying it with the monkeypox. Oh, it's just in the gay community. But let me tell you what's going to happen, Baba. That thing is going to come through. They say it's highly contagious. They talked about that. They said COVID is going back up. So they're going to end up, this is what I believe. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but this is what I believe, that they're going to close the system down eventually again anyway and put our children online. Why not put them online with an African-centered institution?
That's right.
That makes all the sense, Baba.
That's right.
Put them online with the African-centered institution. So I'm going to be honest with you, Baba. I'm happy Jalen's going with you, because that gives us a sense of relief that he's not in school possibly getting exposed to monkeypox or to COVID. And so again, Baba, I give thanks for you. Family, thank you so much for tuning in. This was a powerful build tonight. I did see some people said they missed the live. But go back through, listen to the whole thing. I see all of your thanks in the chat. And Bob, I'm gonna put it up here just in case you didn't see them. I don't know if you're
I
watching the
say, oh
chat.
yes, I'm watching the chat like a
Yeah,
hawk.
Baba. Yeah, yeah. But look,
I
look,
love the chat. That chat that they putting you called to put the key in my back. The chat be turning the key.
don't. He said I put the kid in. The chat
Yeah,
start.
yeah. Chat be turning the key. I'm like, yeah, so I'm definitely checking the chat out.
Absolutely. So peace to everyone who tuned in and hung with us. KC, a beautiful mind. They hung right in there with us. Baba Donald hung in there with us. I'm trying to see who else hung in there. Carter G. Goodson hung in there with us. Yapo, he hung in there with us.
Yeah,
So I know me and Baba kind of went in because
yeah.
we got iron lungs when we start talking to each other. So we kind of go in.
Here we go in.
But
Yes, we do.
they hung with us. They hung with
Right.
us.
And thank you,
Okay.
Tiffany, for sharing the links.
Oh yeah, she put the links in there. Appreciate you, Tiff. Tiff. KC hung with us. Did I mention KC already, Baba?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, KC hung with
Yeah,
us.
KC in the
Amina.
house.
Yep, Amina hung with us. There we go.
I
Yeah,
say.
she said they have no intention of letting this go. Nah, they not letting this go. They not letting this go. Okay, so all right, I see everybody. I think that's it, Bob. I try to get in everybody's
I say.
everybody's comments. We appreciate and we love you too, family. But we'll be back live. I'm gonna take a little hiatus for a few days.
Yes,
Hiatus.
much
But
deserved.
absolutely. So look, Baba. So I'm gonna we'll be back live maybe Friday, hopefully.
I
Hopefully
say.
on Friday.
I
All right,
say.
family. Peace and Black Power.